Okay. Hey y'all, my name is Olivia. My artwork is on A Wild Scene by Thomas Cole, and I chose this artwork because I really like nature and doing adventurous things, so I thought this artwork kind of represented that when I saw it. The medium is oil on canvas. The first thing I noticed about this canvas was on the right, the really large tree. The tree has a lot of detailed roots that are being exposed. The second thing I noticed was the small man standing at the trunk of the tree. He's pointing a bow and arrow at a deer who's running across the creek towards the bottom of the image in the center. On the other side of the creek, there's a large rocky area with 3 other men on it. I assumed that the men knew each other because they appear to be like hunting in a group. The only thing that they're wearing around their waist is a little wrap around their waist that covers them from their waist down to their knees. The background is very mountainous, and there's a vast waterfall that's flowing off the side of the mountain. The base of the mountain is lush with trees, while the top of it appears rigid and is surrounded by dark clouds. Surrounding the base of the mountain there's also a lot of water, and it appears to be really calm. The water flows down to a creek which is located towards the front of the picture where the men are. I think the most important objects in the setting are the natural and diverse landscapes and the men who appear to be hunting. The light in the painting is coming from the sun, and it seems to be very warm. Overall, I think this painting seems very sublime. For analysis, I said that the use of color in the painting is very inviting and the most noticeable element. There's a lot of contrast between warm and cool tones, which really brings the image to life. There's also use of many complementary colors and earth tones. The complementary color pairs that I noticed was red and green and orange and blues. The most common used line in the painting was organic lines, which adds to the natural feel of the painting. The organic lines were used to form the shape of the trees, leaves, mountains, clouds, rocks, water, and the people. The most common shape was also organic. The changes in value are very subtle, and the more saturated colors were towards the front of the painting, which uses value to create depth. Also, an atmospheric perspective is used to purposely distort space. I think the main focus in the painting is meant to be about the men who are hunting, particularly the one on the right, because he appears to be illuminated by the light that's coming from the sun. When I first looked at this painting, my eye moved in a circular / diamond type shape. First, my attention was brought to the large tree on the right, which then leads my eye towards the bottom of the trunk, where the small man stood with the bow and arrow. From there, I kind of used the arrow as an implied line down towards the deer, and down from the deer up the sharp edge of the rock that goes up towards the left where the other men are. From there, my eye moved up the tree on the left side and back over towards the mountains in the background, which then brought my eye back over to the tree on the right where we originally started, which made like a circular or a diamond type shape. Overall, I think the painting is very asymmetrical, but there's a balance created because there's a tree on each side, and there's also roots and rocks on each side towards the front, but the mountain in the background being centered also helps create the balance. For my interpretation, I thought this painting was about the Native Americans being in the natural aspect of their homelands. The men appeared to be hunters, and I know that the Trail of Tears occurred somewhere in the 1830s, which could have inspired this painting to show the calmness before all the discrimination, since the artwork was created in 1832. There's a sense of peace in the painting as the men hunt for their survival, but they're also in such a vast and flourishing land. I think the design of the composition creates a mood of peacefulness by the lighting from the warm sun as well as the subtle contrast between warm and cool tones. The natural colors, shapes, and elements create a sense of realism in the painting. For my judgment section, I would say, like, when reviewing Thomas Cole's artwork, I think the strongest aspects of this painting in particular is like the breathtaking landscape and the idea of including the Native American Indians. After doing research, I found out that Thomas Cole was inspired by American landscapes, which was shown through many of his artworks. Another thing I learned about my research was that Thomas Cole wanted to preserve American landscapes with his artwork because all of the European settlers were urbanizing the land as they came over to America. When looking at other artworks by Thomas Cole, I found that, like, many images of American landscapes like the Grand Canyon and other beautiful places like that, it was a really consistent theme in his work, and they gave out a suggestion of how destructive human civilization can really be. So I thought that was really interesting. Overall, I think that's everything. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments in the discussion, and I will look out for those. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation.